49ers Ultimate Report. This is John J., your 49ers reporter, opinionist, analyst, and die-hard fan. Welcome to another episode of the 49ers Ultimate Report, our Saturday show edition of Niners debate opponents. We also preview the 49ers matchup. Today, we're coming on a Saturday because usually the games are on Sunday, but the Niners have a Monday night football game. But we're still going to do our Saturday Niners debate opponents, as this week the 49ers will play the Los Angeles Rams. But before we jump into the video, I want to give a major shout out to all of my subscribers, those who have helped grow the 49ers Ultimate Report. All the new subscribers, all the old subscribers. We are almost at 1.2K subs, and we're going to continue growing. So many great things, all because of the 49ers Ultimate Report family. You guys are family now. So I want to say thank you. Thank you very much. So let's jump right into the episode. So last week, the Niners played the Cardinals. So I want to say thank you to Moro Tanaka and all the other great guests I've had on talking in this wonderful, wonderful series. I can't believe we're midway through the season already. And we have, I think, 9 games left in the regular season. So let's talk about our opponent today. The 49ers are playing the Los Angeles Rams. For those who are subscribers, and you know my next guest, he's been on here before in the off season. Now he is coming back for the second time, and for sure at the end of the year we're also going to have him for a third time. You guys already know him. Let me give you a quick reminder, and if you're new, let me give you a quick introduction. This guy covers the Rams. He's from Canada, a Canadian guy who loves the Los Angeles Rams. You know him by Payo Time, a Rams YouTuber. Let's bring in Payo Time. What is up, man?
Hey, John Jay. It's so good to see you, man. Thanks again for having me on the show. Love the content that you're dishing out with the 49ers. And, it's been exciting to see your channel grow. I know when we first collabed it, I think you were at like maybe 600-700 subs, and I was at like 400. And it's been cool to see both of our channels grow past that 1,000 subscriber mark. And yeah, it's just, we're only getting started, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I remember, when we were growing, we were small guys. Now we're, moving up slowly. We're at that 1K. So congratulations on your 1K.
Thank
and
you.
I know you're going to continue growing. You've created a great channel. I occasionally watch some of your stuff. I watch a lot of the replays because I'm busy. I know you watch my stuff on the replay as well. So shout out to us small, YouTubers who get to do this wonderful, wonderful journey talking about our favorite team. And also, the last time you were here, I did not have this cool background, my new overlay.
Yeah, I like it.
Right there, my context for all the fans, and of course, the background. It looks a little bit more professional. So I'm getting there.
Slick. It's looking slick. I like it.
And there's more new stuff coming out. So I want to remind the fans as well. All right, so let's jump right into the show. But before we jump right into everything, there was some breaking news that came out a couple of hours ago. And you're looking at Payo Time. He's already upset. He doesn't want me to talk about it. But apparently, Robert Woods tore his ACL. Basically, I don't have too many details. I was actually informed by a podcast who covers NFL. And he texted me and he let me know. I didn't look up at the details, but because we have a Rams guy on today, he will give us all the details. So what's going on with this situation?
Yeah, so this is really sad. This is even outside of football. If you're a football fan, you can appreciate Robert Woods. He's a fantastic wide receiver, great hands, knows the entire route tree. He is one of the best blocking wide receivers in the NFL. He runs jet sweeps. They use him in the run game. Like, he does everything, right? So yesterday at practice, apparently he fell down, and he thought it was just a tweak, but then he finished practice, and I remember watching his media press conference yesterday, which he did yesterday, and I guess afterwards they asked to run some tests on him, and it was revealed that he tore his ACL, and he didn't know it. He finished practice. And so it will require surgery. It is, he is out for the rest of the year, which is devastating, to the Ramley and the Rams fan base. and yeah, it's one of those things. He's been with the Rams since Sean McVay got here in 2017. He was one of the first free agents we got, and he's just been solid, so solid each and every season. He's been a pretty tough player too. He hasn't missed many games due to injury, so this was a shock to wake up to today. And I had just finished another video, and literally like 10 minutes after I uploaded that video, this news broke, and I was flabbergasted.
Yeah, it just came at the weirdest time, like basically just a couple of days before the Monday Night Football game. And for those who don't know Robert Woods, I remember when he was in Buffalo, he was a really good receiver over there, wasn't the top guy. It's kind of funny how Robert Woods and Marquise Goodwin, who were both with Buffalo, Robert Woods went to the Rams and Marquise Goodwin went to the 49ers. So funny how, that, kind of happened. Robert Woods has always been, I think, the number 2 guy right behind Cooper Kupp, because Cooper Kupp, everyone talks about him and he always gets forgotten. Oh, wait, he's on the Rams. So I know you guys are like not really happy about this situation. The same thing as a 49er fan with all the injuries that we have,
Yeah.
No fan base wants to hear one of their key players out for the year for anything. And
injuries suck.
Yeah. So what was Robert Woods' stats, and what was he doing, before this injury? Was he having a good year? What were his numbers? I just wanted.
Yeah, he was having a great year. So he had 45 receptions for 556 yards. And then he had 4 touchdowns receiving, and he had 1 rushing touchdown on the year. He had 8 carries for 46 yards. So over 600 yards of total offense and 5 touchdowns. He was having a great year, for 9 weeks into this season.
Yeah, that's going to be, that really is going to hurt, the depth. You guys do have Odell Beckham. I don't know if he's playing this week. But,
he's projected to play. And so something that's kind of been tough about the Rams wide receiving core this year is, so we actually Tutu Atwell, our rookie wide receiver, we lost him to an ACL tear for the season. And then we also lost Jacob Harris, who was a tight end, but kind of a hybrid tight end wide receiver. And he was expected to get more playing time, but he got injured last week and he's out for the year. And then Deshaun Jackson was unhappy with his role in the offense, and he and the Rams agreed to cut ties, and now he's with the Raiders. And shout out Tommy Huxley, I see him there. So it's been frustrating to say the least. But Robert Woods, he's someone who's getting really good production, and when we signed Odell, I was really excited because we were going to have Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, Van Jefferson, and Odell Beckham Jr. That was exciting. And so I don't know how much Odell will be involved on Monday because he just signed the team yesterday officially. So how much can you learn over the weekend? I know I've seen some people say oh, he, a true professional, he can go right in there and play, but he's got to learn the playbook. Maybe they can do a couple of design, jet sweeps or, screen passes or like a deep route, but he's not going to know the full playbook, which I'm kind of inclined to believe that, Cooper Kupp will do his Cooper Kupp thing. He's playing phenomenal this season, best wide receiver in football this year. And then I'm inclined to believe that Van Jefferson, who's also quietly been having a good year, will have more of a role, especially on this Monday night game.
Yeah. All right. So let me say hello to David. What's up, David? How are you doing, man? David's also a channel member of mine, so I wanted to give him a great shout out.
Cool.
He says, "Hey, hi, John J, and with no H and Payo time. I want to say what's up to CG Ruthless Sports. How are you doing, man? I hope you're having a good Saturday out there in Fresno. What's up, Crazy Jews? How are you doing? Of course, Tommy Huxley. You said what's up to Tommy. Get more Lambs fans. Funny, Tommy. David says, I don't think we're gonna win. I do hope we win. And as a 49er fan, we want to win the game.
Of course.
Yeah. All right. So now let's move on. You talked about him a little bit right now, but a few days ago, you guys signed OBJ. So I wanted to get a Rams fans thought on this. Was this a good signing? Why did the Rams go after this wide receiver? So I just want to know your thoughts on this signing.
So I actually do think it is a good signing. I'll admit to being someone who, when everything was speculative, I wasn't, like, oh, we got to go get him. I know that as I mentioned, the injuries we've had and Deshaun Jackson leaving, we kind of needed a wide receiver. And we had actually put in a waiver request for former Rams wide receiver Josh Reynolds, who got cut by the Titans. But the Lions had a higher waiver priority, so they took him. So of the options out there, because we did need to resign a receiver, just because to fill out our roster. OBJ was absolutely the best available, and so when it happened, I'm pretty stoked about it. I don't expect him to come in on Monday night and have this huge game, but with a team that I still believe has Super Bowl aspirations, we're going to need him now with Robert Woods out. But even before the Robert Woods injury, I was excited about it. I felt he would, have a role, maybe seeing, 5 targets a game, something like that. Obviously, that's expanded now that Robert Woods is out.
As a 49er fan, Kyle Shanahan for the last several years has been linked to OBJ. That they tried to get him from New York, and unfortunately he went to Cleveland, and that situation did not work out well for OBJ.
Yeah,
and there's been a lot of inconsistencies and a lot of bad plays, and then Baker tried to do too much to make sure he gets the ball. But you saw, if you follow the Cleveland, that he has a better chemistry with Landry, and they do better, as Landry as the leading receiver.
Mm-hmm.
So he also has injury history, and I found this out from some New York, fans, that he also had injury history when he was in New York, and then when he came to there. So I don't know how healthy he is, because I think he had a shoulder injury.
Yeah, he had a shoulder. Yeah.
So the question is, how healthy is he, and what is he going to do? And if he does play against the 49ers, I see him more of a lot of like a decoy Roy.
Yeah.
A lot of decoy. He'll probably catch some passes, but probably a lot of short stuff, so he can get, acclimated to the offense. But in my opinion, I could be wrong. I don't see OBJ playing because, it always takes 2 weeks for a player that is signed during the season before they're able to play, in my opinion, about that. So,
well, Schefter tweeted out today that he's expected to play on Monday night. So it'll be interesting to see.
Tommy says, what if you guys get swept by the Cardinals?
Well, then we're going to have a hard time winning the division. But if it happens, it happens. And, I'll give credit to the Cardinals. They've improved a lot this year.
Tommy says Cliff Kingsbury, or he calls him Dinkleberry, really going to win Coach of the Year. I don't think that's going to happen.
I think Mike Vrabel's got to get it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Payo, do you always wear the same shirt?
No, Tommy, I have 2 other shirts that I wear sometimes.
Yeah, see, McVay is going to exploit our terrible run defense. And we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that later, Tommy. All right, so let's move on. And, we talked about your wide receivers. One is out for the year. You guys got a new wide receiver. But let's talk about last week. You guys played against the Titans, right?
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, so give me your thoughts on that game. What happened? What happened?
John Jay, how much time do we have? No, just kidding. Honestly, it was the classic bad game for Stafford and the Rams. I will say that I've gone back and I've rewatched the highlights of that game, and when you really break it down, the Rams defense actually played really well in that game, because 14 of those points were Matt Stafford gifting the other team, and Stafford himself, I loved his response. I wasn't happy that he performed that way, but I did appreciate in his post-game press conference, you could tell he was upset, he was ticked off, and he said, You can't spot the other team 14 points and expect to win, right? And so, he had one horrible throw, and you could tell it was an instinct throw that you don't want to see your quarterback make. And then the other one was an ill-advised throw / good read by the defense. But the Titans defense definitely, had a game. Our O-line had their worst game of the season, which they've been ranked like one of the top 2 O-lines back and forth between 1 and 2 all season long until that game. So not exactly sure what happened there. Center Brian Allen had a rough game, and even though he's been playing really well up to that game. So I'm hoping it's an outlier game and that the Rams will be able to respond and rebound from it. And I'm really hoping they beat the 49ers before we head into our bye week, and then we got to play Green Bay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was watching the game with, some podcasters, who talk, they have their own team. There's a little community of NFL fans. Mm-hmm. And we were like, what is going on? Are the Titans a really good team? Because they didn't have Derrick Henry. And I was a little bit confused. And I forgot the Titans are a good team. And we forget, how good they really are because, they're not, Kansas City. They're not Buffalo. They're not Tampa Bay. So we forget all about those teams as well. So, Tennessee's a really good team. And you guys should not be too upset about, what happened because you guys did play a really good team. Unfortunately, you guys are going to play the 49ers, and we're going to talk about that in just a few more minutes. And, you're going to see why our team is not good this year. And I know you guys are probably going to have an easy game, but I will say this, that it's still the Rams and 49ers. Yeah. Anything can happen.
Yeah. And John J., if I just can say, we just saw the Dolphins beat the Ravens. We saw the Jaguars beat the Bills. And I saw Rich Eisen did a good job of breaking it down that there were a total of 7 upsets last Sunday. So any given Sunday or Monday or Thursday really is a thing. I'm not discrediting the 49ers at all, especially because we haven't beaten you guys in 2 years. Hey, what's up?
Shout out to Big Play Slay. How are you doing? He says, what's up, Payo? All right. So now let's go to the next topic, which is something that I decided to talk about, but the last couple of years in 2019 and 2020, for whatever the reason, in 2019, the first game against, you guys in 2019 was I think 20 to something. It was a very low scoring game. Mm-hmm. So I was like, all right, it's a divisional game. The Niners at the time, I did not, see them, what they were going to do that year. And then in the second game, it was a fun game. It was very interesting, but the Niners got that victory. And then last year, our team was hurt. And the second game, that game was so weird. It was back and forth. And the Niners somehow won the game. So what's been going on these last couple of years? You guys are healthier. You had better talent. What's going on? Is it true that Kyle knows Sean McVay, or what's been the issue?
Yeah, so that's going to be something we really find out in this game. I will admit to being one of the Ram fans that think it was more of a Jared Goff versus Robert Saleh problem. And Robert Saleh is no longer with the 49ers, and Jared Goff is no longer with the Rams. So I do think that we're really going to get a good litmus test to see, the Shanahan versus McVay, rivalry continue. I want to say this offseason, when the 49ers cut Nick Mullins, I'm probably one of the few people that texted all my friends in all seriousness being like, he's gone. Because for whatever reason, the only good game that Nick Mullins played last year was against the Rams, and he beat us. So I'm so glad that, shout out Nick Mullins, because I know the 49ers kind of got fed up with him last year, but as a Ram fans, I was glad he's not on your team anymore. But I also think that the 49ers, with their kind of zone run game that they ran, and it's similar to what the Rams run, but it is different in the regards of, I feel like the Rams run game does have a little bit more east to west, where the 49ers is a little more north and south as they run. And I would say that the 49ers run scheme, maybe they definitely rely more on their run than what the Rams do, especially this year. And the reality is some of Jared Goff's worst moments over the past 4 years have come against the San Francisco 49ers. And I'm hoping that this Stafford trade, the upgrade, as they call it, that this will change that, and that we'll be able to put some big points on the board. And I'm hoping for a track meet on Monday night.
Yeah, since McVay and Kyle have been coaching, their respectable teams, Kyle is 5-3. He's 5-3 overall. So you guys are not technically winless.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys are, but in the last 4 matches, the Niners have basically. So before that, it was one. The Niners were 1-3. In the first 2 seasons, but you have seen how the matchup has got really tight. And one of the things that it is really true, and this goes back from coaches that have worked with Shanahan, and basically like Kyle has always taught McVay certain stuff. And this offseason, the Peter Schrager interview that a lot of 49er fans were really happy why you guys got Stafford, that Kyle also wanted Stafford. So it shows you both these guys know each other very well.
Mm-hmm.
And I know McVay eventually has to figure out a way. Now, there is probably a small possibility that with the weak talent that we have right now, all the injuries and how we're playing in our secondary, that somehow the 49ers will win the game. And something's telling me in my gut that while you guys are, I think, 7-2 or 8-1, something like that.
7-2.
Yes, that last year was the same way. You guys against when we had Nick Mullins and very few receivers and our defense wasn't healthy. Somehow we won those games. So I don't know what's going on, but maybe it's just like the division. Some teams just have other teams' numbers, and we'll see what happens, with that situation. Yeah. All right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. You see, David says 13 straight home losses, and then a lot of angry emojis.
Yeah, that would be frustrating.
Yeah. Our last win at home was
against. Well, thanks, David, for bringing that up.
All right, so I'm a little bit happy now. Yeah. Shout out to Dave. He's a good dude. He's a channel member, always donates to my channel, etc. So, all right, let's move on.
John Jay, could I ask you a quick question? And I'd love anyone in the who's watching live. I'd love if we could hear in the chat from you guys. I was talking to Niners Sickness yesterday. I had him on my channel, and we previewed this game. And I, as not a Niners fan, I am a Rams fan first and foremost. But I love football, and someone who's been playing really good football for the Niners, and I think is the most interesting player on the Niners that doesn't get talked about enough, is Debo Samuel. Could you tell me, as a 49ers fan, how cool has it been to see his success this year, despite, Jimmy G being Jimmy G and, the other struggles of the Niners?
All right. So while I answer this question, we're going to move to the next topic, but I will answer the question and then.
You were bringing it up.
Yeah, I want to talk about it anyway, but
sorry.
let me start. Yeah, no. You asked a valid question. Debo Samuel is a wide receiver I liked in college. I gave him a good letter grade. Now, he wasn't the receivers. I forgot who came out of that draft. It's been a while, but I know Debo Samuel was a receiver. And with his body of work that he did in South Carolina, where he was from, he was a returner, basically punt, kickoff returner. He was also a type of like one of those jet sweep that Kyle likes to do. He also was very fast. And one of the things about Debo is that he does a lot of his dangerous work where he catches the football 5 to 10 yards. And if there's any open space, just any open space, you see that speed. And you saw that where he caught the football versus the Lions. And he was covered very well. He caught the ball and he was able to outrun 2 defenders to show you that speed. So against the Bears, you saw what he did. He got us a screen pass, and the play was assigned to get as many yards as possible to punt the ball away. But the blockers gave him the space, and the defenders were playing too far away that when he was able to see open space and got the first down, he just exploded and went down the field. And Debo Samuel, I think, is number one when it comes to yards after the catch in the NFL. And he's a really good wide receiver. Is the problem that a lot of fans in the 49ers community was like, oh, he's not worth, being a Niner. We got to trade him. But he's healthy, he's producing, and he's played every game. And while people can say whatever they want, Debo Samuel is very important to this offense. And that's the reason why he's reclaimed that number one spot. So that's me answering that question for you.
Yeah. And the reality is Debo is probably the 80% of the Niners offense right now. I exaggerate, but yeah.
All right. Tommy says Debo is a lamps killer, but I think AD is wanting. All right. And then let's see, Aaron Donald. That's what AD stands for, Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
Shut him up. All right. Okay, so now let's piggyback. We'll talk about the 49ers key players, but here comes the part that you're going to tell me way more is your team key players. So this is the usual suspects. And I put them up here because of this. And I had to write this. This took me a while. So Matthew Stafford's the quarterback. The quarterbacks are always going to get. He is basically 2 percentage points of 70% completion. He's basically 229 yards from 3,000 yards. So he's doing really well. Each pass attempt is almost 9 yards per attempt, 23 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and he's only been sacked 11 times in 9 games.
That is 5 of those sacks came last game.
So it shows you how good he's been playing. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, Cooper Kupp. I think he's the only wide receiver right now with 1,000+ yards. He has 10 touchdowns and only 74 receptions. I would not be surprised if he breaks the receiving record with the additional game. So he's on his way there. So, and then, so I don't want to talk about that, but that's some really good firepower and a good wide receiver. Now let's look at the defense, why I got these 3 guys, but I want to get your thoughts on this and any other players I missed out. Aaron Donald, 37 total tackles, 6 sacks, 7 tackles for loss, 3 pass defended, and 1 forced fumble. Leonard Floyd, 40 tackles, 7.5 sacks, 5 tackles for loss, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery, and I'm not even done yet. Jalen Ramsey, 46 total tackles, 6 tackles for loss, 8 pass defended, 3 interception, and a forced fumble. So I don't know what you have to tell me that I already know about, these players. And are there any other players that I have not missed? So these are key players. Let me know about these players and any other players I missed from the Rams.
Yeah, so I'd say the 2 that come to mind there's 2 on defense that I want to bring up, and then 1 on offense. The two on defense I would say is Darius Williams, who is an amazing corner. Most teams he would be a number 1, but just because we have Jalen Ramsey, he's our number 2. But he missed some time due to injury, but he is back now. And I'm told that he looks healthy. He has no limitations and he's recovered. And then on defense, the other one, I'll shut him out. We haven't confirmed, but word on the street is Von Miller is making his Rams debut for the Rams this Monday night. And it's going to be really interesting to see because both Von Miller and Leonard Floyd normally play on the right side. So one of them is going to be swapped, or maybe they both take turns. I don't know, but it'll be interesting to see what they do with that. So yeah, I know Vaughn was injured and he missed last game, Tommy, but word on the street, it's not confirmed yet that he is expected to play, but he is still game time decision.
Yeah, like on paper, the Rams are basically a team that they have stars at every position. Matthew Stafford, I've followed his career. I know who he is. Cooper Kupp has become probably one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. Mm-hmm. Some people tell me, he's overrated, but the numbers speak for themselves. He's been, even when Goff was there, he's always been that guy who has been very consistent. I don't know if he's ever had any serious injuries because I don't follow the team too much, but he's always been there. He's always been a guy who's always been working hard. Then on the defensive side, we all know about Aaron Donald. He's basically the best defensive player in the NFL. Mm-hmm. Jalen Ramsey, while his skills has declined, he's still one of the best cornerbacks. You guys got Von Miller, Leonard Floyd. Your team is stacked. So basically, and that's why a lot of people criticize. Why are they forgetting about their future with these aging players? But there's a reason why, and you guys are being aggressive. And on paper, like this is not even a matchup because I just named 5 players, but there's 53 players, and there's probably more players I have not mentioned. But these are the standouts. So I don't know if there's any other standouts. Are there any other players that you want to spotlight?
There's one more I really wanted because he's one of my favorite players on the Rams, and no one talks about him unless you play fantasy football and he's on your team. Running back Daryl Henderson. We like to call him Hendo Hundo because he often, gets over 100 all-purpose yards in receiving and rushing combined. Both him and Sony Michel have done a great job blocking the passing game. But yeah, Daryl Henderson's been great for the Rams this year. We lost our starting running back Cam Akers in the offseason, and Henderson got a lot of hate. There was a lot of people saying, "Oh, he's not a starter. He has proven to be one of the top backs in the NFL. Sure, he's not in that Alvin Kamara, Dalvin Cook, Christian McCaffrey. Like he's not necessarily in that tier, but Daryl Henderson has played very well this season." And I'm really looking forward to seeing him Monday night against this 49ers run defense that's struggled at times this year, I hear.
Anyway, and we'll talk about that in just a quick moment. But hey, anyway, so now let's talk about the 49ers. Mm-hmm. And right now, these have been the 4 players that have been, basically mid season. These have been the 4 players. Elijah Mitchell right now, he's predicted to play. They have not announced any who's out. I think there are a lot of game time decisions. But we talked about Debo Samuel. He's going to be playing. He's going to be the number 1 guy. And one thing about Debo Samuel is that for Jimmy to be successful, he has to give the ball to Debo Samuel. Kittle, he's been hurt. He's been a bit inconsistent. Ayuk hasn't been out there. So Debo has had to carry that load. So he's been doing a really good job. Elijah Mitchell, one of the things that I'm going to, tell you is that Kyle, and I know your head coach, he doesn't forget about running the football. He never forgets that aspect of the game. And Kyle's the same way because they run the same offense, that West Coast style type of offense. And
very similar schemes, yeah.
And for some reason, Kyle has been trying to pass the football more. But when Elijah Mitchell has been able to get the touches and the yards, etc., even if he gets 2 or 3 yards, you see the offense move. You see the offense move. And one key player is Elijah Mitchell, who has to run the football. Now, hopefully, he's more healthier than last week because last week he played a bit hurt with a calf. So I think he's a bit better. He's been practicing, limited practice, but he's been practicing. So hopefully he's on the field because that's the only way our offense is going to give us a little chance on scoring points on you guys. I don't have to talk about Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa. He's going against your left tackle. We'll talk about that also. And then, who would have thought that this linebacker, Aziz Al-Shair, which still is a hard name for me to pronounce, but he's been outperforming Fred Warner. Mm-hmm. When you look at these players, who are you more worried about?
Yeah, I'll obviously all of them. These players have been playing at a high level for the Niners, but the one that goes most is Nick Bosa. I know that the Rams O-line did not play well last week, and I think anytime you play a defensive line that has Nick Bosa, included in it, that's going to be a tough outing. But yeah, Azir, it definitely been, a bright spot for the Niners. And Fred Warner, I don't like, from what I follow about the Niners, I feel like some 49er fans are frustrated with him, but to me, the reason why he's so good is because teams have had to account for him. And that's part of the reason why Aziz Al-Shair, I also have struggled to pronounce that name, has had such a good year, is because Fred Warner is, commanding more attention.
Yeah, and as a 49er fan, to be, completely honest, Fred Warner's game has declined a little bit. I don't know what happened. Some people are saying because, that big contract. I do think players are always like a roller coaster,
Yeah.
But Fred Warner the entire year has been, just going straight down the roller coaster. And when he has been consistent, he hasn't been going up. He's been going straight. So Aziz
Okay.
Al-Shaair has been an extension of the run game and the pass game. That's one thing that people forget. His lateral movement side to side is very quick. And the dude is playing with an arm brace. Imagine if he didn't have that arm brace. What could have done? Nick Bosa, I don't really have to say nothing about Nick Bosa.
So
He's playing like a comeback player of the year. He might be getting some defensive players of the year votes, but I'm not sure if he's going to be given. But he's playing as a defensive top player. We do have a lot of issues, but Nick Bosa has been the guy who's been basically been consistent. I know he's only one guy, so it's hard for him. And Debo Samuel, I don't have to say nothing about. But Elijah Mitchell, a 6th-round pick, took over Trey Sermon. Of course, Boster got hurt, out for the year with surgery. And he's been the guy that's been carrying the lows. Unfortunately, he's averaging only 14 carries. So it shows you that we have moved away from the run game. And that's the thing. But when Elijah Mitchell has maybe 15 plus carries, between 15 to 20 plus carries, the Niners offense will be very successful. So that's why I believe these are been the 4 most successful players this year. Tommy says Frank Gore better than Falk, and as a 49er player, I like Frank Gore.
Yeah,
he's a really good player.
Yeah,
the dude is an ageless wonder. He continues to play. I don't know if he's playing this season, but he's an ageless wonder. And I have to say this and I do believe it's true. I think Elijah Mitchell is better than Henderson.
Oh,
so how do you feel about that?
Oh, we'll see this Monday night. Maybe this game turns into kind of an old school running back duel where Hendo and Mitchell just kind of they score a touchdown, they both go for 150 yards plus. Who knows?
All right, let's go and talk about the numbers. Now let's go by the numbers. We're going to talk about the Rams defense and then offense. So we'll start off with the defense. So right now, your defense overall is a pretty good defense. Your pass defense is 17th, which is very weird because I thought you guys would be a little bit more better because you do have Jalen Ramsey, but I'm not sure why, you guys are this low. You could probably explain to me. Your run game, you guys are basically giving 100 total team yards, which is still a lot of 100, but you guys are ranked 7th. So basically your 7th ranked run defense, that's pretty good. That's basically our key to win the game. And of course, Jimmy Garoppolo, against a 17th ranked pass game, the numbers don't say it. When you watch the games, what does the defense look to you when you look at these numbers? I know the numbers don't tell the full story. Tell me why your pass defense is a little bit low and your run game is better than your pass defense.
So I guess thank you for this opportunity to point this out, and I definitely think. Compared to what the Rams pass defense was last year, we have taken a step back. I don't think it's as drastic of a step back as these numbers would indicate, mainly because we've had a lot of games where the game has been over by the 3rd quarter. Like when we played the Texans or the Giants, or even the Bears, that game was over pretty quick. And so that forces the other team to abandon their run game and sling the ball, right? And I think back to that Texans game, and we took out all of our starters on defense and offense, and it was pretty much all backups in there. And Davis Mills, who hadn't done anything all game, in the 4th quarter just decides to start lighting it up, and I think he threw for 2 touchdowns in the 4th quarter alone. But that's because the game was already well in hand, and so I think. It's those garbage time yards and touchdowns that kind of deflate that a bit. I think our pass defense is better than 17th.
Yeah, there is a website, that actually it's one of the most trusted websites where I get these numbers, and ESPN, they have the same thing, but ESPN there's certain biases, so they just ranked, what the numbers say, but they look at it, but your overall defense is not as bad, but as you mentioned, numbers don't tell the full story. And if you guys have been leading in a lot of games and other teams have been forced to pass, of course, the numbers are going to be inflated. So when I look at your defense, I do think your defense is really good. Now, we don't know what's going to happen on Monday night. Maybe we'll make you guys look like the numbers say, because we don't even know what can happen any given Sunday.
Or Monday.
Yeah, any given Sunday, Monday, or even some Thursdays.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's talk about the offense. And I don't really need to say nothing about the offense because, your pass game is good. But I was a little bit shocked about your run game. But let's look at the numbers and what the numbers say and what it really, what is the real fact. You guys are number 3 in the league, 305 yards, exactly 305 average, perfect, right there. And because of your quarterback, your wide receivers, your pass game, it's not fair. Basically, we're playing the best passing defense versus our pass defense, which somehow it's by the numbers, which I will show you in just a minute. But your run game, can you explain what's going on with the run game? 20th? Is that just something that, it's just, how it's ranked? What's going on with the run game? Because I don't believe, because you do have some solid running backs.
Yeah, and I think we don't really. It's more of a game script where we are a pass heavy team. We absolutely established the run most games. The Titans game was kind of an outlier. But I think you do got to look at, we are averaging over 4. I think it's right on 4 yards a carry. But I would say that in regards to our run game, we also do a lot of like screen passes that we kind of use as a run game. Because you saw Matt Stafford do that a lot with his offensive coordinator, Bob Cooter. And I think that's something that McVay has taken, that Stafford has had success in Detroit in the past, and he kind of brought it into the LA offense, just kind of catering to a skill level. But yeah, like I'm not upset that our run game is ranked 20th. They still put up, good numbers. Is it, your elite, Cleveland Browns rushing teams? No. But I do think that if we had a game where we needed to run the ball, we would. That's something that McVay has done different. Last year, we would often have packages, not just in like the 11-man personnel. We would also have a lot of 2 tight end sets. We haven't had a lot of 2 tight end sets, and that's normally where we would run the ball a lot. And even like when we had Todd Gurley back in the day a couple of years ago, whenever you saw like a 2 tight end set on the field with like Higbee and Everett, you knew like, okay, this is a run heavy scheme, which we haven't seen a lot of this year.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I'm not worried what the numbers say. Remember, the numbers are always going to be inflated. As we're going to talk about my defense and show you how high we're ranked up in our pass game, and I want to explain that. But overall, when I look at your team, it's still a dangerous team in the pass game. So I can understand why the numbers, when you're averaging 305 yards in the pass game, and you guys are 7-2, and your defense may not be as elite, but they're still up there, probably in the top 15. That's still a good defense, still a good offense. So I am going to take these numbers and just say, hey, these are just what the numbers say. But when you watch the game, let's see, Tommy Huxley, he says that he was just kidding. He likes Falk as much as I do. And I remember when Falk would, beat our butts.
Love Marshall Falk.
All right. David is already piggybacking to the next topic a bit early. We somehow have the 4th ranked pass defense. Our run defense is trash. And then Jay Mouse is in the house. He says,
Jay Mouse.
What's up? All right. Now it's the 49ers' turn, and I have a lot to say. So, of course, we're going to go with the defense, and then we're going to go with the offense. So this is the numbers, and I'm going to explain the numbers, and then I want to get your thoughts. We are 5th in the league in pass, averaging 207 yards. This number is very misleading in just one quick point. And, of course, when you're averaging 132 yards, your opponents, that is really bad. So, I already said everything about our run defense, but I will piggyback on that. While we have the 5th best offense, the secondary has 40 penalties for 400 plus penalty yards. And that's the reason why we are ranked up there. It's just that we are the most highly penalized team. And against the receivers that we're going to be playing against and the quarterback, there's going to be a lot of penalties. So when you look at these numbers, are you surprised at all? Because you would have thought that, this defense was supposed to be good this year. So an outside looking in, when you look at our defense, are we bad?
So again, coming into this year, I thought this division would be between the Rams and the Niners, and largely because I thought the Niners defense was going to be, elite. Thanks for sharing that stat about the penalties, because I hadn't heard that, and I am truly shocked that's a lot of yards to penalty. I again, there's no defense in the NFL that scares me with this Rams offense. However, I do think that the Niners can still put pressure on an opposing team's quarterback, so that's something to consider as well. It'll be interesting to see if this Niners secondary can cover Van Jefferson, can cover Cooper Kupp, which, to be honest, no one's been able to cover Cooper Kupp yet this year. So it'll be interesting to see. I think his lowest performance of a game was 95 yards, and that was last week with the Titans.
Yep. Yeah, David basically just sums it up, the pass interference crew. That's all.
PIC.
And Crazy Juice, our secondary is garbage. Yeah, so basically, before we move to the offense, basically, I am very worried about what Matthew Stafford's going to do. I've seen him in a lot of games with the Lions, and while the Lions have been, excuse my language, but they've been trashed in trash organization. And there's been a Lions fan. We all know who he is in the Niners community. I won't say his name, but he continues to say this nonsense, and he goes after every other team. And even when you guys beat them, he was on Niners, chat rooms talking about, hey, the Rams overrated because they couldn't blow us out. So I'm not going to go through the details, but he was still opening his mouth. But the Lions are a trash organization, and you can see how their fans, act. But that's the thing that I am worried about. You guys have a good running back, so I won't be surprised if you guys, just kick our butts so badly. And that's all I have to say about our defense. Now here comes the offense. And this is the thing about our offense. And our offense is actually doing better than the defense for some reason. Now, we're not the best. We're only 13th in the league with 253 passing yards. And our run game could be higher, but, Kyle just gives up on the run game. We only had 39 yards. Shows you that we had to pass the ball a lot because we were trailing to the Cardinals. We have 113 rush yards per game. So when you look at the Niners offense, are you a bit worried? And then, of course, we talked about Debo Samuel. Are you worried about the offense?
I'll be worried if the Niners stay two-dimensional the whole game. I'm worried. I'm not so obtuse to think that if the Niners are able to balance their run and move the ball through the air efficiently with Jimmy G and Debo and maybe Ayuk continues to show up again, I'll be concerned because I think Jimmy G, he's your stereotypical play action quarterback. When your run game is going, he's probably going to get going as well. And so that will be when I'm on the edge of my seat here going like, oh, come on. I'm like, Jimmy G, you decide to be good this game.
Yep. We'll see what happens because for some reason, you never know. Maybe while everyone is picking the Rams, maybe Kyle, is going to pick out that, that playbook he only has to sign for the Rams and use it. And I think, if we somehow win, I think Kyle needs to use that playbook the way that we if we beat you, because like I said, in the last 4 matchups, we are, I think 4-0. So
that's the beauty of football, right? We can talk about these stats and it's fun. I'm a stataholic for sure, but I love when it gets to be game time and you're like, okay, we got to put the stats away, we got to put the rankings away and just play football and see how it translates to the field.
All right, so let's move on. All right, let's move on to basically the key matchups. And as always, a lot of the key matchups this year has always been almost the same. Nick Bosa has always been the number one matchup against left tackles. And, Usually other teams that we've been playing, they've had to use other left tackles.
Mhm.
But for the first time in, I think, like 5 weeks, I'm able to put a left tackle, Nick Bosa versus Andrew Whitworth. I think he's 40 years old now. He's the
Yep.
ageless wonder for some reason.
Shout out to Big Wit. Yeah.
Also, I put in the Rams run game versus the 49ers run defense. I had to put it there because that's a key matchup. And then Cooper Kupp versus the 49ers corner. Which matchup are you worried about, and which is your favorite matchup?
Definitely like worried about would be the Nick Bosa versus Big Wit, even though Big Wit has been playing amazing. And he something I loved in the off season, even before camp, he apparently hosted like workout parties in his garage for the entire O-line, and he just got everyone to come over and he would like lead the workout. He's been great. This is probably his last season. He thought about retirement long and hard last year, but he took a huge pay cut to come back this year. He's been a great left tackle even at 40 years old. And obviously always an injury concern at that level. But in terms of talent, he's one of the best tackles in the game still. And like he knows how to play left tackle well. But that would probably be the concern, just because I do know Bosa knows how to get leverage. He knows how to work that edge. And that'll be a tough matchup for Big Wit. What I'm most excited about, it's Cooper Kupp versus the 49ers corners, just because Cooper Kupp, he's on pace to break Calvin Johnson's receiving yard record. And I would just be so stoked about that. And honestly, every week he's just been so fun to watch. He's designing routes that have never been designed before by a wide receiver. Something that's underestimated about Cooper Kupp is so Stafford obviously is the quarterback, and he calls the offense, and he'll call the audibles. But we've actually seen Cooper Kupp audible this offense before, and communicate to Stafford that something needs to change. And so Cooper Kupp has the awareness and the football IQ of a quarterback, but he plays at the wide receiver position.
Yeah, Nick Bosa, I'm sorry about your left tackle, but if he plays some one-on-one, no holding, whatever, I think Nick Bosa is going to win every time. Mm-hmm. It's just that your quarterback is your quarterback. He's a good quarterback. So it's going to be a very tough matchup. Yeah. Once he's able to get through Andrew Whitworth. The run game, of course, when you have the 26th ranked, running game, that's going to piss me off. And of course, Cooper Kupp is going to have a really good game. I just don't see, when you look at by the numbers and you go with all the stats that tell you, it should be a blowout. But in the NFL, just because these matchups favor the Rams doesn't mean, because any given Sunday can happen.
Or Monday.
Yeah, Sunday, Monday, Thursday. But at the end of the day, Nick Bosa is the favorable matchup, and basically it's a two-way tie with Cooper Kupp and our secondary and the run game, your run game against our run defense. So that's all I'm going to say. David says, are other teams been chipping Bosa with tight ends and running backs? Yep. Mm-hmm. And that's just, something that I don't like, but it shows you how a guy who's coming off a serious ACL injury, there's still players that are worried about what this guy can do. So I agree with that. All right, now let's talk about keys to victories. What are your keys to victories? Why did you pick these keys to victory for the Rams to beat the 49ers?
Yeah, I would say keys to victory as of this morning with Robert Woods going out is someone else in the wide receiving room. I doubt it's Odell, but if it is, okay, cool. But we need Van Jefferson to step up and play that number 2 wide receiver. I hope he has a big game, but I would also say the Rams being able to take control of this game early. I've coming off the loss with Tennessee. I have some concerns about us having the ability to come back. So I'm hoping that the Rams are able to take control of this game. And I do think if we have the lead going into halftime, we'll be able to close it out. But just if we have to play from behind in the second half, just because I do have concerns about Odell not knowing the playbook and being able to come in and run the full offense with him on the field. Our one rookie wide receiver who's there, Ben Saronic, I'm not comfortable with him being the third wide receiver. So we'll have Van, we'll have Cooper Kupp, and they can do damage for sure. But I do think that Rams will need to play. They'll need to control this game and make the Niners play their game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for us, the keys to victory for the 49ers offense is very simple. Establish the run game, average about 4 to 5 yards per carry, and open up the play action. Kyle Shanahan has basically the last couple of games he's been very pass happy. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure why he's changed the offense. I don't know why he's not doing what has worked for him. If we have to go do something else like shotgun and a lot of pass early, we're going to get a lot of 3 and outs because Jimmy Garoppolo, I think, needs the run game more than anything else. And I think Kyle needs the run game. And Kyle, for some reason, basically does not value the run game anymore because the last several years, our run game has been averaging 20 rushing touchdowns. So when you're rushing TDs or dropping your carries and your yards per run and the total yards, it shows you how the offense has changed. So hopefully we play action and run the football as much as possible. On the defensive side of the ball is basically the matchups on the defensive line. If Nick Bosa is able to get, good one-on-ones enough to break the tackles and go after the quarterback, he's going to make Matthew Stafford throw the ball quick, or he has to scramble out and play in a way he's not used to playing. And, of course, we need Azeez Al-Shaair to be an extension of the pass game and an extension of the run game, because when he performs really well, then Fred Warner plays really well. So those are the matchups for the Niners, for everything to go well when it comes to the matchup. Is there anything else, any keys to matchup before we move on?
I would just say, making Jimmy G uncomfortable. I personally would love to see, Jimmy G throw it, 40, 50 times in this game. I know Niners fans don't want that, but as a Rams fan, I'm okay with that because I definitely have a lot more faith in our pass rush than I do our rushing defense, even though we have played the run pretty well. I just think making the Niners one-dimensional would be so key. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we'll see which team actually does their game plan, does it well to get the victory, because at the end of the day, coaching matters, and if the coaching plan works really well, you'll see which team really wants it. All right, so now we go to the final portion of the show, predictions and final scores. And like I said, we have to do it. I know you and I, we're really good boys. We root for the different teams, and so we have to do this. So What is the prediction? What's the final score for the Rams?
So I actually think this game, I do think the Rams will win. And I do think that you respect that it's a division matchup. And I've fluctuated this past week when I've been asked about the prediction of this game. But as I've been thinking about it, I'm sticking with my prediction I made on my game preview of, I believe it's going to be 34-17 in favor of the Rams.
Yeah, when I look at this game, it's a divisional matchup. Mm-hmm. I want to take the account of last year and how, with a lot of injuries on the offensive line, a lot of injuries, and somehow we won the games. And both games, the Niners, basically came off some tough losses. And the first matchup, the Niners won. I think it was like an 8-point game. The second matchup, it came down to the final plays, and Nick Mullins made the right throws. Debo, got the yards that he needed to set up the game-winning field goal. I believe this game is going to be very close. I think for some reason, when the Niners play the Rams, it is probably closer than the Cardinals, closer than the Seahawks. I think this game is going to be always traditional Rams and Niners. And I know my 49er fans who believe we're going to win. Last week, I said the Niners were going to win because something told me we were going to win, and we didn't win. But My prediction is the Niners are going to fall very short. I don't think this is going to be a high-scoring affair, even though last week we gave up a lot of yards and a lot of points. I think it's going to probably be like the highest score is probably going to be 20. I'm going to say 26. Okay. And the 49ers are going to probably have 20. So you guys are going to probably score 26. The Niners are probably going to put points on the board, 20. And it's going to be a one-possession game. So it's going to be a one-possession game. That's all I'm going to say. So I think it'll be, if I got to make the score, maybe 26-20, a one-possession game. That is my prediction.
Okay. Yeah.
What I want to see what the chat has to say about their prediction. So let me know what the chat says about the prediction before we finish the show. But while they put the scores in the chat, Payo time. I want to say thank you again for hopping on, talking 49ers and Rams football. I know you guys. I know when the season started, you thought maybe our team or your team was going to be winning the division, but who would have thought the Cardinals? Yeah, who would have thought the Cardinals?
I don't think even Cardinal fans thought the Cardinals.
Yeah. So, all right. So while they put the scores in, so I want you to plug in all your social media, your YouTube channel, where they can find you, where they can follow you. And I know you're a Rams fan. I have a lot of 49ers fans, but we have to collaborate, work with one another, because I know you and I are going to be doing more shows in the future.
Absolutely.
So just let me know. Chat, let me know the scores, but Payo time. Let everybody know who you are one more time, where they can find you, your channel, etc.
Yeah, so you can search me on YouTube, Payo time. I'm normally the first one that comes up. It's PAYOTIME, and yeah, I cover mainly the Rams, but I love talking football with any fans that love genuine football conversation. Yeah, I do post on Twitter and Instagram a bunch as well, but mainly YouTube's kind of my thing, and I'm having a lot of fun on this YouTube thing. I do watch parties, I do game previews. I have a show on Monday mornings, or this week it'll be Tuesday mornings, called Rams Breakfast Club, which is a lot of fun. And
yeah. So yeah, go check out Payo Time's channel. I know you guys are all 49er fans, but it's about bringing all football fans together. That's what John Jay's about. I had Payo Time in the off season. I have Moro Tanaka and many other great guests as well. So let's help each other out. Like I said, I'm a Niner fan. I will always support you. Got your back. Let's see. David says 49ers 20, Rams 24, but I still have hope for a W or a win. Okay. So I'm the same way with David. I do want to win the game, but I have to be realistic. And sometimes it's a bit off-putting. Oh, John, you can't beat this guy. You got to be honest about it, because when your team isn't playing really well and you're playing a really good team, you got to give credit to the other team. So
yep.
I agree with David. Any more scores, guys, before we sign off? So put your scores, because we're about to sign off in just a bit. So let's see if there's any more scores up there. All right, so I think there's no more scores over there. But with that said, everybody, thank you again for another Saturday edition of 49ers Debate Opponents. We all know Niners, best team in the NFL. Go Niners. Anyway, but with that said, everybody, this guy right here is John Jay. The guy over here, it's Payo Time. He likes the Rams. But everybody, you guys have a good rest of your Sunday. But with that said, I'm John Jay. This is the 49ers Ultimate Report. You guys have a good rest of your Saturday, and go Niners.
Thank you for having me on.